Hello and welcome to Running the Table, the podcast where we run through everything on the table in the world of sports. And football is still king. The NFL news doesn't stop. And Jalen Hurts just got a bag and a
Back up
half.
the Brinks truck.
We got some NFL news for you. Tim, are you ready to go?
Let's run it.
The Birds secure their QB. Jalen Hurts inked
As
a
they should.
historic extension with the Eagles. 5 years, $255 million.
Just keep getting the contracts just
$179
keep
million
getting bigger.
dollars.
Uh,
$179 million of that is guaranteed, which is the third most ever behind Kyler Murray and Deshaun Watson. He's getting paid $51 million a year, which is the highest in football history, topping one Aaron Rodgers. That guy's a bum. I don't know who that is. Not like we've done anything about him on the channel. Who? And Jalen Hurts has a full no trade clause, which is the first in Eagles history. They don't do no trade clauses, but for Jalen Hurts, it's that important.
oh yeah, keep him around because he's obviously made such a big difference for their team ever since he's taken over, and I don't think he will have any reason to want to leave the Eagles anytime soon. I know he's always seen that he's a guy that's very comfortable where he's at. He loves the loyalty and where he's been. As long as they treat him well and he has his opportunities, if they keep making the moves to put the guys around him like they did with the trade for AJ Brown, and he keeps staying healthy and doing what's right for him to keep himself in the game long term, he's going to be a great quarterback for years to come. So obviously we talk about like these contracts keep getting crazier and crazier, but if anybody deserved it, especially after the performances he's put up led them to the Super Bowl, it's Jalen Hurts.
Well, Tim,
He is him.
welcome. Well, he is him. Welcome to the world of inflation, economics, and the
Yeah,
market in the NFL.
I know it's just gonna keep getting bigger and bigger.
And now we've crossed the $50 million per year threshold with no end in sight. But from a football perspective, the Philadelphia Eagles put themselves in position for sustained long-term success. Their
Absolutely.
championship window with Jalen Hurts was already open as it was. They opened it last year. They just swung it wide open by a few more years because now they have their
Well,
guy.
now they've put a firm door stopper in that door, and they're
Yeah.
making sure that thing stays open as long as possible.
And as we saw last year, the Jalen Hurts breakout was very real. He was an MVP candidate for most of the year. He took the Eagles to Super Bowl and almost won it himself, if not for one Patrick Mahomes. But
And one very unfortunate fumble.
that too. But Jalen Hurts' rushing ability that has always been there and the improved ability to throw absolutely merited this extension. There's
Getting better
no
and better.
doubt. We expect him to be a top tier quarterback in the NFL for a long, long time, even past this extension. He should get another one after this if all things play out the right way. But it's why you play the game, and only time will tell to see what the heck happens.
Absolutely. The one person that I can't imagine how he's feeling right now, Lamar Jackson.
Yes, so
Oh boy.
we're taking a look around the rest of the league.
What does this do for him?
Congratulations, Baltimore. Lamar Jackson's price just went up, and that makes the negotiations a lot tougher there. So when that situation gets settled, we'll be sure to make a video on it. And another thing is the next wave of quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts is the first
Yeah.
of that 2020 draft class to get a massive extension. Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Tua Tagovailoa, they're all due pretty soon. And guess who's also due, Tim? Jordan Love.
I think he needs to get some significant playing time before we work
Don't
on
worry
a big
about that.
extension.
Don't worry about that. He's going to be our quarterback for the next
His
15
time
years.
will
But this isn't
come.
about Jay Love. This is about Jalen Hurts and the impact, the shockwaves that this
Yeah.
sends around the league. This is also a
Every
win for dual threat quarterbacks because this is
yeah.
another example of a quarterback with rushing and throwing ability bucking the trend and proving doubt is wrong. And he gets a big payday. It's really redefining not just Jalen Hurts, but guys like Josh Allen, guys like Mahomes that are able to use their legs in
It's
a
establishing
special
that they
way.
have a place in this league. You've seen a
Yes.
lot of times previously where you talk about dual threat guys, they try to make their way in the league and people are like, this archetype doesn't work. And then they, get tried on with the team for a couple of years and then they sort of fade out. But now we are in this era where if you can at least establish that throwing ability with it, it can be a huge, huge asset to teams, which is the reason why guys like Lamar, like Jalen Hurts, like you say, Josh Allen, those guys are so valuable is because it has now been proven that it can work. But the thing is obviously you still have to have the pieces and you have to be able to work that offense around that style of quarterback. You can't hinder them and you have to let them do what they do best.
And the thing is, just because you have a guy that can rush and throw and maybe do both kind of well, doesn't guarantee success. But now there are more and more examples in the NFL of we're saying that
it's what it can do if you utilize it correctly.
Yes, it is shown that it can be a viable blueprint to build your quarterback around. That does not guarantee that it will work out. I'm speaking to one specific fan base in general. It's not hard to see who I'm talking about if you know anything about my sports and NFL allegiance and who I like and don't like. All right.
Not giving a guy a darn chance.
I'm giving him a chance. I just don't like it. I just don't like Justin Fields, and I never
know
have.
You don't.
You can go back in the history of this channel and go back on like Justin Fields'
Day one. Bring up the draft.
Literally since day one. And we're here all this time later discussing not Justin Fields, but another rushing quarterback and a guy that can actually throw, Jalen Hurts. It's a big day. It's just going to be
crazy. It's going to be crazy to see what the shockwave looks like this for the quarterbacks of the future, because like you said, all those guys that are looking for their contracts up next, like we said, every time a contract like this gets signed, the price tag for everybody else gets bumped just a little bit higher because it shows what teams can be willing to pay for their franchise, for the star of their franchise. So you've got a lot of guys that maybe not necessarily this offseason, but throughout this upcoming season and next offseason, we're going to see some more big contracts being signed for those guys to stay with their teams long term. So, congrats to him. He absolutely deserves this contract, and it should set the Eagles up for a lot of success in the future. But it all is going to guarantee about how they're going to be able to retool and rebuild that team around him.
Geez, Tim, you want to say everything? You want to do the outro too? Because once again, you have summed it up perfectly. This has been a huge day for the Eagles, for Jalen Hurts, for the NFL, and it's going to be exciting to see how this impacts the rest of the league. But that's all we got for today. If you want to watch our other stuff, we have lots of NFL content. We've been covering Major League Baseball because that has been underway. We covered lots of college basketball. So if you want to go watch that, go check out our other stuff on the channel. But until next time, like and subscribe, and we out.
That Brinks truck better be a big Brinks truck. They need a Brinks boat.
What did you just say?
Let me drive the Brinks boat.